Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Father Patrick Bain. I am the chaplain at Kuemper Catholic Schools, for those who may not know me. And it's an honor to talk to you. I wish, of course, we could be live and in person, but unfortunately, alas, we are relegated to modern technology and the use of this medium and platform. I want to thank you for watching this today. I want to thank you for at least giving me a moment to hopefully impart some wisdom specifically to our parents. And so I want to address this video specifically to the parents of Kuemper Catholic School students. Today, of course, marks the day where officially our students are going back to school. And of course, they're not back in school in the building. They are doing this all virtually online. And I want to thank our teachers. Our teachers have been absolutely heroic in basically taking their lessons from when they were in a classroom and in the span of a couple of weeks, revamping everything, working very diligently, very faithfully to make it possible for your sons and daughters to continue their education at home. But I realize for you as parents, this can be very stressful. It can cause a lot of anxiety. And you might be wondering, how in the world are we going to make this happen? How in the world are we going to do this? I want to just kind of cover two very quick, very brief themes with you this evening, or this afternoon rather, whenever you happen to be watching this. I just want to cover two themes with you and kind of talk to you a little bit about what the church would have to say about this, but really just kind of some overall advice. All right, so the first theme is when we return to normal, don't return to normal. Let me say that again. When we return to normal, don't return to normal. Okay, Father, what do you mean by that? Here's what I mean. Our society has become so busy that we demand so much of our young people that it causes undue amounts of stress and anxiety and even depression in their lives. I can't tell you how many students I have talked to and worked with over the years, just in my office, just in passing, who are kind of almost just wigged out. They're at the end of their rope. And they don't feel like they have anywhere to turn. They don't feel like they have anyone to talk to. Because they're involved in every sport, every extracurricular, every co-curricular. They have a part-time job. They try and have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And they have all these different things going on in their life. It becomes very stressful. The cause of a great deal of anxiety. And so I want to challenge you as parents that when this is all over, that we not go back to the normal routine of having our young people wake up at 5 in the morning or 5:30 in the morning and not get to bed until after midnight. And I realize that maybe applies more to our high school students than our elementary students, and so by default our high school parents, if you will, than our elementary middle school parents. But those of you who are parents of children that are elementary middle school age, you can start imparting these values to them now, and you can start reassuring them that, hey, you don't have to be involved in everything. You don't have to do it all. Now, am I opposed to sports? Of course not. I love sports. Am I opposed to people being in music and drama and on National Honor Society and student council? No, of course not. These are all very good things. Okay, am I opposed to a kid being on a traveling basketball team, a traveling volleyball team? Of course not, not at all. Those are wonderful things, and I encourage them to do that. But if we do all of these things, pretty soon we become like Martha in the gospel. You remember that story in Luke's gospel? Jesus goes and he visits his friends, Martha and Mary and their brother Lazarus in Bethany. And he encounters Martha and Mary. Mary sits at his feet. Martha is off doing everything, preparing the house and cooking dinner and whatever else she was doing. And she says, Jesus, tell my sister Mary to help me. And Jesus looks at her and says, Martha, Martha, you're worried about many things. Only one thing is needed. And he said, Mary has chosen the better part. It will not be taken from her. How often, my brothers and sisters, do we choose the lesser part than the better? How often do we lay aside our families and our faith so that we can play in one more tournament? We can play, one more concert. We can do one more thing. What do we do for our kids? What do we do to our kids? We just keep heaping more and more and more and more on top of them. Interestingly enough, a study has been done regarding how do we stem, if you will, how do we halt teenage pregnancy, teenage drug use, teenage suicide? Because these things can kind of run out of control. We have real problems with all of these areas in the world. You know what they found was the single most important overriding factor to stemming the tide of teenage drug use, teenage sexual promiscuity, and ultimately teenage suicide was a family meal, a family dinner. And so what I want to invite you to think about, my brothers and sisters, is that hopefully, perhaps in this time of quarantine, where you are together with your family, that maybe the family meal has become more routine. It's become a more regular part of your daily life. Now, I realize people are in different boats, different situations. I realize some of our listeners may still be working, right? Maybe you're a farmer and you're beginning planting season. Maybe you're a doctor, maybe you're a nurse, maybe you work in a grocery store. There's different things, right? And obviously, there are other careers that are still at work right now. But the point is this. Hopefully, that family meal has become more of a staple in your home. And if it's not, make it so. Okay, realistically, my guess is we're going to be here a while. Officially, of course, Governor Reynolds and President Trump have said that we're going to keep this up until April 30th. I'll be very honest with you. Looking around at the states around Iowa, I'll be really surprised if our students are back in school this year. I'll be really, really surprised. Now, maybe it'll happen. I hope it does. I'm serious. I hope it does. I'm praying for that. But I'll be surprised if it happens. And so, what I want to encourage you as parents to do is to make that family meal a regular part of your day. Not merely your week, but a regular part of your day. And then once we are through this time of COVID tide, if you will, that continues to be a staple of your day. It continues to be a central part of your day. Next, second of all, I love Catholic education. I'm a product of Catholic education. I graduated from Storm Lake St. Mary's, and I have spent the first 8 years of my priesthood as a teacher and as a chaplain in Catholic schools. 3 years at Bishop Heelan in Sioux City, 1 year at Lamar's Galen, 3 years at St. Edmunds in Fort Dodge, and now 1 year here at Kuemper in Carroll. And I love, as I said, Catholic education. I will be a proponent and a supporter of Catholic education until the day I die. But it has been a constant teaching of the church that the church is not and cannot be the primary educator of your children. You, the parent, must be the primary educator of your sons and your daughters. You are the first and foremost educator in the life of your child. Now, does that mean that you need to teach your kid how to do calculus? No, of course not. Does that mean that you need to teach your kid, what are the 50 state capitals? Well, maybe, okay. But primarily, it means that you are the first ones who impart your faith to your children. There's a couple things we can say about that. First, you can't give what you don't have. And so if you're looking at yourself and you're like, okay, objectively, my relationship with God is not where it needs to be. Okay, take advantage of this time. Go to formed.org, all right? Go to formed.org, sign up as a member of a parish or an organization, type in St. John Paul II in Carroll, Iowa, and you can register for Formed for free. If you're not familiar with Formed, it's like Catholic Netflix, okay? There's so much information, so many things on there, it would take a lifetime to go through all of it. Find 2 or 3 that you're interested in, that sound fun, sound encouraging, enlightening to you, and spend time during, COVID tide, national quarantine time. Spend time during this time watching these videos, listening to these talks, reading these books. They're all available and they're all free, okay? Literally thousands of different things. So you can't give what you don't have, educate yourself. But then second of all, the primary way that you impart this to your children is through your example. The way that you live your life, the way that you and your spouse love each other or perhaps don't love each other, the way that you interact with each other is picked up by your children. Is picked up by your children. If you have a son, if you want to know how he's going to treat his future wife, look and see how the father of the household treats the mother. If you have a daughter and you want to know how she is going to treat her husband someday, look at how the mother of the household treats her husband, the father of the household. The way that you as parents interact with each other is picked up by your children. There's a saying, and it's absolutely true, more is caught than taught. Your kids are so observant. They pick up every little thing. The way you behave, the way you drive, the way you talk, everything. They pick it up. And that will impact their life as they progress into adulthood. So, more is caught than taught. You can't give what you don't have. But most of all, let me finish with this. Most of all, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Again, you don't have to teach your kid calculus. All right? They'll be okay. If they go to college a week or so, or a month, or even 2 months behind where they were supposed to be in calculus, the rest of the country's in the same boat. We're all going through this. They're going to be okay. I oftentimes, at the beginning of the year, tell the kids at the opening mass that I really don't care how, quote-unquote, successful they are in life. And that's true. I have been blessed to have known some really remarkable students in my 8 years as a priest. I've known kids that are and are playing Division I college athletics. I have known kids that are on their way to becoming famous in whether it's TV or Broadway musicals or the country music scene in Nashville or whatever, all right? They're well on their way to doing these different things. I've known kids that are working in Congress now for United States senators and representatives and people that are making very powerfully influential decisions in our country. I've known people that are students who are working for Fortune 500 companies and well on their way up that ladder, that chain. I've been very, very blessed to know some very exceptional young people. Now, that being said, I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less. Do I want our students to be successful in these areas? Yes, of course I do. But I always tell the kids this, and I'll tell you as parents this too, because it's absolutely true. If our young people, if our students, our sons and our daughters, at the end of their life, they die and they go to hell, it doesn't matter what they did in this life. They could become an NFL Hall of Famer, President of the United States. They could be in 17 different, Hollywood major production movies. They could do all sorts of different things. If they die and they go to hell, at the end of the day, their life has been a total waste, a total failure. But the flip side of that is also true. That if at the end of their life, our sons and our daughters die and they go to heaven, it doesn't matter what they did or did not do in this life. They could be a drunk drug addict that lives under a bridge and dies when they're 50. But if at the end of their life they die and they go to heaven, literally that is all that matters. And their life has been a massive success. Right now, dear parents, the school and the church is in a certain sense ceding back to you that which is rightfully yours in the first place. The responsibility of being the primary educator of your child. I beg you, first of all, don't waste this time, cherish it. When you're done, remember the good that happened here in being together as a family, and don't go back to normal. Second, entrust your kids to the Holy Spirit. You can't give what you don't have. grow in your own faith, and remember that they're going to be okay.